So brief intro to what's happening here. Matt and I met recently, well, at the end of last year. I believe Matt found me first through HPO podcast, Human Performance Outliers podcast, where I was a host on a guest on Dr. Sean Baker and the amazing runner Zach Bitter. And then Matt contacted me, and since then we started a collaboration because we have so much in common. Our philosophy is very, very much alike. So our goal is to have possibly weekly chats, conversations around challenging the status quo of nutrition. And those of you that are watching live, or if you watch the recording, comment below, give us a thumb up if you feel like we need to challenge the status quo of nutrition. And if you're excited, right? Because not everybody feels like. So we are opening this conversation for those of you that are frustrated, disappointed, confused, overwhelmed, and everything else that goes around food and nutrition the way it is today, as well as health. So if you find yourself in any one of those emotional states, what we are starting here is for you. And we invite you to let us know if you are in for challenging the status quo of nutrition. And of course, we love you for sharing this with those of you in your circles that you feel like they could benefit from this. Now, before we get into our amazing conversation of today, which is food as fuel, and that sounds very dry and non-relatable probably for most of you. It's what the conversation today is about: how you can have skyrocketed or you can skyrocket your energy. And when I say that, energy may mean feeling like you're not dragging anymore. You wake up energized, you go throughout the day. You don't have to you don't feel that afternoon slump, and you don't have to take breaks, coffee breaks, or whatever pick me up breaks you take, or naps. You find yourself focused and able to do everything you desire to do. If you are, the average Joe, like most of us are. If you're an athlete, you feel like you're bringing your athletic performance to the next level. So those are just few things that you can think of when it comes to energy. But not only you skyrocket energy when you understand how food is your fuel, but you also reset your hunger. Literally, you do not feel hangry anymore and obsess about food or worry about food. And you begin to burn excess fat, the fat that you don't desire to have on your body, off, and you keep it off. Is that powerful? So
is that exciting? Is that exciting to you guys out there?
Yes,
I think they should be very excited.
Thumbs up. Give us a GIF. I hope you guys like those. I love those things. The GIFs, how you feel right now and how you want to feel. Like if you feel awesome, can you feel even awesomer?
More That's a great word.
I know.
We need to use that word.
I made that.
Use that more often.
I made that up. Awesomer.
That's right.
This week, I think with my son, he's learning in school the adjectives and adverbs and all that, and the comparisons. And obviously, awesomer is not how you say it, but that's how I choose to say it, because
I like more awesomer.
More awesome.
I think that's even more politically correct. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. So comment, let us know because you know what? And we'll get into a little bit of story. I always had energy. So I always felt awesome, but now I'm awesomer. I'm more awesomer. And it's so cool to see that, you may be feeling great, but can you feel even better? How
Yeah,
hard
and you know what?
will
That's a nice
get
segue,
by?
right? Because I think most people don't even know what feeling good is. They're so
Absolutely.
used to feeling mediocre,
Lousy.
and that's their new norm, right? So the whole
Absolutely.
point of this re-education process you and I are so passionate about is to let people know that it can be better, right? Like
Amen.
and
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So now, before we start talking about this, like how you make food your fuel so you get all these benefits and beyond, Matt, tell us a little bit, because my audience now, right now, we are live streaming on my page and we're going to share in
yeah,
your group and on your page. This is a collaborative effort, not effort, project, awesome project, which we love. It's not
yeah,
effort. That
yeah,
so you will see these videos on my page, on Matt's page. So I want to make sure that people that do not know who you are will
yeah.
get to know you quickly, and then of course I'll reintroduce myself too. So let's start by that very quick, like in 30
Yeah,
seconds.
quickly.
Tell
My name is
us.
Matt Pack. I own a gym in Miami Shores called Primal Fit Miami. I've been in the industry for about 20 years. I have a passion for helping others. My mom was a school teacher. Um, I really love to be on the journey of helping someone go from, point A to point Z or whatever that goal may be. I really love to educate and love to help people. It makes it just gives me a sense of joy and a big reward when I'm able to help somebody get healthy, because I think that's the ultimate reward, right? I think most people, fat loss is great. I think it's a part why most people hire me is for fat
Yes.
loss and for aesthetics and transforming your appearance. But ultimately, the goal for me, and I know you feel the same as I, is I want to get somebody healthy from the inside out
Yes.
through nutrition, through a holistic approach of mindset and nutrition and sleep and stress management and water intake, and empower people to take care of themselves. So that's kind of our
Absolutely.
goal.
We are so, I don't even have to say what I
Yeah,
do. I do the
yeah,
same thing like Matt does.
yeah.
I just want, Matt, you look pretty fit. You look good. Can you tell us
Thank
your
you.
age?
I'm 45 years old. I need to
Awesome.
shave, but I'm 45 years old, and I'm always trying to prevent illness and trying to walk the talk.
That's what I wanted
So
to say.
that's
That's
yeah,
what I wanted to say, that it is possible.
yeah.
Right now, you and I'm close. I'm 47, be 48 in
Uh-huh.
July. So I'm pushing 50.
Yeah.
So both of us, and probably most of our listeners are, I call it halfway through. When we exercise,
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
my counting, when I used to teach classes, and when I would count, we reach, like, we want to do 24 reps and we are on 12 or 13. I would always say past halfway. So
Yeah, yeah.
now I'm thinking I am past halfway my life and I don't feel it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Father Time is undefeated, and the goal is to fight for your life, right? And I feel like some of the people that I see, they've kind of accepted their current reality, and they're walking around like zombies, and like, look, get up off the couch. Let's take action, prevent disease. Don't be a burden on your family. Don't be a burden on the healthcare industry. Like you and
That's
I
a
are going to
that's a good
hopefully,
point. That's a
yeah, we got to,
that's a fresh look. Yeah. How about your, because in the end, we want to empower people for them to take charge of their own
yeah,
health and self-care and medical care, and everybody's response, it's their choice what everybody does with their,
yeah,
what they put in their body, how they live their life, but in the end their choice affects those around in their
sure,
immediate family, as well as, like you're saying, society
yeah,
level, like the
yeah,
cost of healthcare. And that, I like this point. I don't bring this one up so much, but as we grow older, we
mhm,
see more we, for some reason, we tend to see, because our parents are older, so now our
yeah,
friends parents are older, we start to hear, oh, dementia, Alzheimer,
Yeah,
cancer,
for
so
sure.
strokes, heart attacks. So then we cannot not say, to some degree they could have made different choices, so
Sure.
they would not have been. It's their body, it's their problem, but in the end it becomes everybody else's problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
So
that's a great point. Like don't be selfish.
yeah,
Like
that's
you need to take
right.
you got to take care of yourself so you can take care of your family.
So yes,
And
awesome.
there's so many people, like I said, that oh, I just have bad genetics, or this is just the way it is. Where our goal for the audience here is to show you that genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle actually pulls the trigger.
Awesome.
So we want to arm you listeners out here with the tools, right? We have to unlearn, right? That's your thing.
Unlearn,
Let's
yes, that's in my
unlearn.
cure.
Yeah, because
Big
right now
time.
most people don't know what they don't know. So it's
Yeah.
important that we kind of like unlearn, and then we're going to re-educate
Re-educate,
our
yeah.
listeners on how to empower themselves to better health.
Yes, awesome. So this was a great introduction for your listeners. My name is Mihaela Telecan. Like Matt, I've been in the health and wellness industry. Gosh, 2002, I started my journey in the human field. Before that, I was in the veterinarian field. So
Mhm.
it's been going on for a long time professionally as well as personally. And
Yeah.
we'll get more into our stories, but today I just want to keep it to more to the topic of conversation. So I do help. My coaching practice is mainly geared towards women, because I feel like there are a lot more men in the keto world, in the carnivore world, in the fitness world, even in the mindset world. There are more men. Like every mindset, like this is a parenthesis, every mindset training and guru that I watch out there is a man.
Yeah.
If you look into the motivation, empowerment,
Yeah.
all of that. So I feel like
It's your turn. It's your
it's
turn,
my turn,
Mihaela.
exactly, because women relate differently to a woman than to a man when it comes to taking care of our own body, because we function a little bit different. Our
Yeah.
hormones are slightly different, we bear children and all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I focus my work around women, and
Yeah.
mainly over 40, again, because I'm in that group age, and I made it my personal quest, now that I healed myself from my previous that I closed my first quest and I'm starting the second quest. It's menopause.
Yeah.
I want to go through this phase of my life without knowing that I'm going through.
There you go. That's a
No
great
hot
goal.
flashes, no, the expected weight
Yeah.
gain, hair loss, irritability, all the things that are given to us. This is what you
Yeah.
expect.
All right.
Again, I'm challenging the
This is the
status
norm.
quo.
You're talking about the norm, but
Exactly.
you don't want to be normal.
I do,
You don't want to be
exactly. That's
normal.
exactly right. So I'm challenging that, and I really believe that I can challenge the status quo. It's not a stamp that we all have to get on. We can choose to follow, to receive the stamp and conform to that. But I do believe that we can change our biology and age gracefully, de-age. So
Right.
that's my
Yeah.
mission.
Well, what
Aside
do you
from,
remind people about your credentials? I think that's important.
yes, okay, thank you. You always remind me of that. So, so I have a master's of science in nutrition. I am a registered dietitian. I'm a veterinarian. That's my very first profession. So I'm a doctor in veterinary medicine and diabetes educator, GAPS practitioner, and so many other,
Yeah.
acronyms behind my name. However, I feel like aside from all the credentials, I'm a woman that inspires and inspires hope and trust
Yeah.
that every single human being has everything it needs to heal and thrive
There you
with
go. I love it.
food and lifestyle.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
that's me. Now, let's not forget that we have audience listening to us. And if you loved what you heard, we would like you to give us a thumb up. Again, even if you watch, are you seeing the Facebook? Because I can't see anything. I don't know if anybody's on or
Yeah,
what's
let us
going
know.
on.
Let us know how if you guys are seeing it. Is there a delay? Can you hear
It is
us?
20
Are we having
seconds delay,
are
that
we
I
having
know.
technical difficulty? So yeah, give us a thumbs up if you're here.
Thumbs up. And if you like what you're hearing, like if you like to age like Matt, because again, we are all heading to keep your muscle tone, to look good, to have
Yeah.
energy, and for a woman to go through menopause without worrying about any of the expected uh whatever expected.
And listen, if you guys have any questions for us as well, like
Yes,
please
yes.
shoot us some, and we'll get to some Q&A. We'll get to some in a few minutes.
Yes, and for sharing, we are so grateful if you share this again, even if you watch the replay, because we know not so many people can show up live, especially with our technical difficulties. We have special prizes for those of you that share this video with your friends on your timeline. So let's get started. Today, we're gonna help you understand one big concept: food as fuel, and how that affects your hunger and satiety, so you do not feel deprived ever. You don't have to use willpower. Oh, sorry, phone call. You don't have to use willpower to make your food choices. Have loads of energy, like mind-blowing. And what was the third one I had in my description? It was energy, resetting, burning fat. So
Yeah.
you have lose weight. I don't like
So
the
looking
lose weight.
better.
Yeah, looking better. Okay, so this is what we are going to talk about today. Matt, you wanted to bring some statistics up before we dive into this?
Yeah, I think it's important that people, a reality check on, what's going on around the world. It's startling, and sometimes we're, kind of in our own world, and you don't realize just how bad it is. So there's about 70 million obese in the United States. 99 million overweight. So huge obesity epidemic we're dealing with right now, which is absolutely reversible. 85.6 million adults, 1 out of 3 have one or more types of cardiovascular disease. 62% of adults 64 to 74 have high blood pressure. Total cost of cardiovascular disease in 2011, I'm sure it's more now, $116.8 billion. All right.
Wow.
3 other startling statistics to me: infant mortality, 33rd out of 36 industrialized countries. We are 36 dead last in obesity, and our life expectancy is 26th. We are 26th out of industrialized countries in life expectancy. So embarrassing.
26. Oh wow.
Yeah, embarrassing. Cardiovascular disease, 92 million adults. I mean, like cancer, 1.7 million. I mean, it's a travesty, to be honest with you. So we've talked about this before. Like
Yes.
if one of us breaks our arm or we get in a car accident, right? We know I want to be taken to an emergency room, because emergency room medicine is so technologically advanced. But as far as um, preventative medicine and dealing with illness and disease, we're one of the worst in the world. So that's kind of why we're so passionate about this, because we have knowledge that we know can not only prevent disease and lower the rate of obesity, but we can also reverse it, right? So
Yes.
that's what you have, the knowledge you have in your brain, and that's what we're going to give people. How can we prevent it? How can we reverse it?
So if you are shocked by these statistics, I don't want you to stay shocked, but I want you to comment, to put some comments below, like low thumbs or mind blow, if you like to use emojis, or just number one. Number one means shocked, shocked, shocked. So, however, the statistics are really mind blowing in a bad way, but there is hope, guys, because again, all these modern chronic diseases that Matt just gave us those numbers on are really I would say 80%. Okay, I'm not going to say 100%. I'm going to say 80% are the result of our food and lifestyle choices. And today,
Sabotaging yourself.
yes. Today, I do want to help you understand food beyond pleasure. And I say that because with every person I talk, when I talk about food, pleasure, the pleasure factor comes first, and it seems to be the main, if not the only, determining factor for their food choices. I can reframe that and say it almost seems like the only source of pleasure in their life comes from food. And it doesn't have to be that way. And eating in a way that supports your energy and health doesn't come at the pleasure sacrifice. You still have pleasure from what you eat, but pleasure, the way you understand it right now, is not what guides your food choices. And here it goes to a mindset shift. As long as you, right off the bat, think, I don't like this, I can't live without that, guess what? You will not take any actions to disprove that. You will continue to act according to that belief. That's why not only in my work I talk about unlearn, but I talk about redefine pleasure,
Yeah.
redefine
Yeah.
food, redefine lifestyle, redefine sleep, redefine anything that needs to be redefined,
Yeah.
so it serves you. It doesn't serve someone else's agenda or body or desire. So let me know in the comments below if you agree with this, the fact that food is the main source of pleasure. Like, I can ask you right now, what's your favorite food? And you probably know, and you know exactly why, and you start to salivate. And if I ask you what food you can absolutely think you cannot live without, you will find foods that you will say, I can not imagine myself living without. Maybe I'm going to bring up fruits, because I have this conversation with people all the time, right? So that's just to set the stages. Food, nevertheless, it is providing pleasure to us. But
what else does it do?
Before that, food is fuel and nourishment. So think about, and I always use this analogy, and I really do believe and promote the idea of eating being as simple, as natural as breathing. So we breathe, and we know that breathing is a built-in bodily function that we possess and allows us to stay alive, right? Through the act of breathing, we take in oxygen through our lungs, through our cells, and we exhale, we eliminate carbon dioxide. Yes? We all agree with this. Eating,
subconsciously.
no, it's pre-programmed. We don't have to think about, and I'm not even going to go into the example to show how crazy it would be to have to count your breaths, to measure the air composition to see if it's the correct one, to see if you inhale and exhale the right way, at the right depthness and frequency based on exercising versus sleeping versus sitting. It's crazy to think that you would have to do that, right? Comment there if you think that's crazy. It is. You would not be able to do anything else but count your breaths and all that, right? But when it comes to eating, we do exactly that. And eating is no different than breathing. We eat to take in matter, food that provides us with nutrients and gives us energy. So that's if we strip ourselves to the bare bone of animal, like human as an animal, not human as an evolved 21st century sophisticated creation.
Mm-hmm.
Just the animal human has built-in knowledge to guide when you're hungry, when you're full, when you're satisfied, all that. No different than breathing. Let me know if this makes sense at any level. If you hear this for the first time, you may have a hard time wrapping your head around it, although I hope not, because it totally makes sense. It's different. Food, we have to gather it, to find it. Is not like given to us, you know, like air is provided to us. We don't have to go find air.
Yeah.
Food, we have to use our thinking mind to gather the food. And yes, it is difficult today to know what's food and what's not food because we have so much crap stuff out there that's called food. I totally agree with that. But the act of eating, the hunger, the satiety, the frequency, the amount, all of that is built in our biology. We don't need a guideline to tell us how many servings of anything to eat. We don't need an application to put in to see if we ate enough. We should be able to find that within ourselves. And I hope you sit with this information. Give me a thumbs up, a number, something below to let me know if you resonate with this, if this makes sense. So that is understanding that food equals survival, equals nourishment and fuel. Today, we're only going to look at food as fuel. Yes? Are we good? Any questions on this, Matt? Anything you would like to add?
No, but I think you're 100% right. I mean, I think people are so disconnected from food because they are only seeking pleasure, like you said, instead of, and hopefully after today's conversation, start viewing food as fuel and being more conscious when you're ordering food or when you're in the grocery store, instead of saying it's just by taste, oh, I like that, or I love that, or that's one of my favorite cereals, or that's my favorite product in the box. You know, you're thinking about how can that food, you know, work for you, right? Because look, you and I've always said that.
First, is it food?
Right, is it food, right?
How
is it actual food?
How is it helping me? What does it do to me?
You and I have always said, you know, thy food is thy medicine, right? Now, food can either be medicinal or it can be poisonous. Yeah. The problem is most people are looking, it's all clumped in together, and it's all just based on feeling and emotion. And we look, guys, we're aware that we're not cavemen anymore, right? And that you're going to have lunch meetings and you're going to have gatherings and birthday parties and weddings. Yeah. But even then, you can strategically and consciously have fun, right? But choose foods that are going to nourish your body and give you energy and you know, chemically work properly for the hormones in the brain and without causing disease, right?
You just touched on two things from the cure method. C is connect. Yeah. When you're disconnected from food, from where the food comes, you're disconnected from your body, disconnect. Yeah. We have to reconnect, to connect. So that's one thing that you touched on. And the other one is, it goes back to redefine fun. As long as you think fun means stuff in your face,
getting drunk, eating pizza.
getting dry, yeah, then yeah, you're gonna miss out on life. You can't do it. So it's so crucial. Like that's why I'm in love, sorry to say, with, I'm not sorry, I'm really happy that I nail it after all these years. I nailed this cure method, which I know we can't say cure, but it's not cure like in cure. It's connect, unlearn, redefine, elevate.
Love it.
Elevate as high as you choose to. Okay, so let's go back. So awesome points. So now let's understand how the human body gets its energy. We get energy in two ways. One, it comes from food. Secondly, from what we store in our body after we eat, depending on, how much we eat. We have smaller or larger reserves for non-supply times. That our body is very intelligently designed. And I'm sure if you look at your body, you only can marvel how intelligent the body is. And the way we gather our energy is no different. So number one lesson that we want to bring out from this one is our body will always get its energy. If you put it on your plate, it's going to get it from the plate. If you don't eat anything, you fast and you need energy, your body will go to its stores. Unless you have absolutely no reserves, which not too many people today have no reserves, at least in the modern industrialized world, then you will always have energy. I'm not saying you don't need to eat, because food also provides us with nutrients, with nourishment. I'm saying you probably can eat less. And when you eat, you get the foods that give you more nourishment if you already have enough energy on your body. But let me explain the
Are you saying that some people don't need to eat because they have enough food on their ass? Is that what you just said?
Yes. It was disguised in there. Thank you for clarifying that. That's exactly right. So in other words, if you have excess fat on your body that you would like to get rid of it, sometimes think that right now I'm gonna eat my own fat, nothing in the plate, and that's totally fine. And you will get to a point where you do that with ease.
But you'll die.
You will not struggle. No, you won't die.
That doesn't seem healthy. This seems like you're starving.
No, because you're tapping into the reserves of your body. So let me explain. I like this conversation. And by the way, guys, that book right there, Make Peace with Fat, has it spelled out how to actually put it into practice in real life, to move from the theoretical to practical. And talking about starving, in the book I give the example of the longest recorded fasting in history. You know about the young man that fasted for over a year, 304 days, something like that. Yeah, quite impressive, guys. And he did get his nutrients like IV, vitamins and minerals, but no food through this hole up here. Okay, so food, when we talk about food and chemistry, like we strip off food from the way it looks, broccoli or potato or apple or whatever it is, we strip it down to macro and micronutrients. Macronutrients means they come in large amount and they are known as carbohydrates, protein, and fats. Micronutrients are in tiny amounts and they are known as vitamins and minerals. So that's what we get from food, if we were to look at it biochemically speaking. Now, when we talk about macronutrients, that's when we also talk about the energetic value of those macronutrients. In other words, when the body burns that food off in our metabolic furnace, it will generate a certain amount of energy per macronutrient. And you probably all heard about is carbohydrates and proteins are equal in terms of energy generated, calories, in other words, 4 calories per gram. Fat is much more calorically dense or energetically dense with 9 calories per gram. Alcohol, not a macronutrient, also comes with calories, just so we bring another source of calories into our diet. It provides us with 7 grams calories per gram. Don't have to remember those numbers. What I would like you to understand that right now, all we are talking about, food as fuel, is food as macronutrients and food as calories, and what's beneath calories, which is the way those macronutrients interact with our energy regulatory hormones. So, and is this clear?
Yeah.
So we have 3 macronutrients, each one generate energy, and they also each one interact with the hormones that regulate our energy production or storage. Now, what is interesting is from the 3 macronutrients, only carbohydrates and fats are used by the body to generate energy. Protein is not, unless the other 2 are not present. So if you eat carbohydrates, protein, fats, a mixed meal, potato, butter, steak, that's a mixed meal. If you eat all of them together, the protein is used for repair and restoration. It's structural. So I'm going to just talk protein first and then we take it to the side. Most people, sorry, I'm getting a notification here. Oops. So most people, when think about protein, they think about big muscles, right? They say, oh, you work out, you need protein, you build with muscle. But it goes beyond. It's everything that's structure in our body. The bone has protein, hair, nails, hormones are made of protein, enzyme, digestive enzymes. So protein is structural, and protein is also an essential component of our diet, meaning we have to eat the essential amino acids, 9 of them, in order for us to survive, not only to be healthy, but to survive. In the absence of acquiring those 9 essential amino acids, we can die. The body cannot produce them. So protein as a macronutrient has an essential component. We have to consume it. Now, protein comes in 2 forms. One is of plant form and one is of animal form. We can talk more about this on another session or conversation. Today, we're going to shift our focus to fueling. So protein by default is not human fuel. Here, carbs and fat, the other 2 macronutrients, are our human fuel. So there's a difference between these 2 fuels. Huge difference.
Can we back up? And I just want you to tell, because I think protein, and you know this, sometimes gets a bad rap, okay? And as fat does as well. But I want to just toss out a couple of things at you, and hope maybe you can explain why I believe protein. Well, number one, protein in Greek is first, right? It is that important of a nutrient. And I always tell my clients, let's build protein first, and then we build carbohydrate or fat, whatever, which fuel we want to use to complement that protein. But I want people to understand how important protein is, because the thermic effect of foods, we have a TEF, which goes along with protein, and maybe you can speak better on that than I. But also, most importantly, is the satiation factor that comes along with protein. So we have the thermic effect of food, which essentially is it burns calories just by you consuming it, and you can talk a little bit more about that if you want. And then also the satiation benefits from it as well. Am I right on those 2 things?
Yes, absolutely. I didn't want to go that deep,
Not
but
yet.
I can, since you brought it up, I can say, so when we eat protein, a meal that has a substantial amount of protein, especially I'm talking animal-based protein, flesh or eggs, it it has higher thermogenic effect of food, meaning our body, in order for us to digest food, for our heart to beat, for anything to exist, we consume energy, right? uh, the digestion of food is called thermogenic effect of food, is higher. The amount of the energy the body uses to metabolize, to digest and metabolize protein is higher compared to the one used to metabolize carbohydrates or fats. So it helps us indirectly with weight loss, let's say, or maintaining a certain weight. Not to say that when we eat more protein, given that we stimulate the muscle, if you don't stimulate the muscle, you can't build muscle, and no matter how much protein you eat. Agree?
Correct. Yeah.
So we stimulate the muscle, we build bigger muscle mass. Therefore, to maintain our own machinery, our own cells, we raise our resting energy expenditure. So the more muscle mass you have in rapport to the rest of the tissues of your body, the more you burn by doing nothing. So if you like to eat more, you can eat more, right? You can afford to eat more, less so to speak. And the other one is higher satiety. It keeps you full and satisfied for longer time. But here I have to add, if it has enough fat.
Right.
So when I talk about, what do you eat so you're satisfied for a long time, I always say, especially if you go the low carb, which hopefully you'll understand why you want to go the low carb route, I always say fat is your fuel, primary fuel, and protein is your structure. So have enough of those two. I find it very difficult to overeat protein. So I don't have a problem. People will not be able to overeat protein. It's not like you sit in front of the potato bag chips and you get lost and you eat the whole bag and you don't realize. You cannot eat too much animal protein in one go.
Yep, I agree.
And fat, that maybe it's easy not to have enough, so we have to, or it's easy to have too much because it's slippery. So with fat, we have to work on a little bit on fine tuning. But is this addressing what you wanted to say? Okay. Now let's go back to fuel, because this is the key point of today. And again, our body, so preferentially we burn carbs and fat for fuel. Protein, again, no, let's not even talk about protein anymore. Now, there's a big difference between carbs and fat as fuel. First of all, energetically, we get more per gram from fat. So it would make sense that I want to take the fuel that gives me more energy per volume, per gram, right? That's number one thing, but it's beyond that. So I'm going to use an example, an analogy for everybody to understand this concept before I throw in some terminology that's more of a biochemical nature. Imagine that those of you that are watching, let's take a little break here. Give us thumbs up if what you heard so far makes sense, you understand. Ask us any questions you have. I don't know if you can see if there are comments in there. I was able to go on, but when I put on I have two sounds. So I had to put it off. But if you can, I think we should have done it on the phone. Monitor the Facebook from another device.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. For
comments. I can see. There's a couple comments, but no questions.
Okay, so please, guys, comment. We want to know you are here. You like the information. If it's too much, I feel like we already talked, I don't know for how long. Maybe it's more than enough for one topic, but I do want to close this food as fuel for sure. Excuse me. So I'm going to use the analogy. You guys keep throwing out at us some GIFs, emojis, comments, ask questions, whatever feels right for you. We love it. And share. We absolutely are grateful for your shares. And we will have...
We're saving lives. We are saving your life right now. Some of you guys don't realize that we are preventing you from going to the doctor. So you owe us. You owe us.
A share.
Exactly.
Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. I have. That's not nice. Okay. Let's now I want you to imagine, those of you that live in Florida and never dealt with fire will have a hard time imagining this, but those of you that at least one time in your life made a campfire or a fire in a furnace, or you had to cook with fire and warm up your house with fire, you will have no difficulty understanding this. We are making a fire. You are given the task to make a fire, and you are offered two fuels, and those are hay and wood logs. So question number one, and if you're watching the replay or live, answer please. Question number one, what will you use to make the fire? And you can answer for me this because you're my participant here now. So
Do you want me to answer?
yes, please. So you have to make a fire, and to keep the house warm, you have available to you hay and you have wood logs. What will you use to start the fire?
I'm going to start the fire with the hay.
Why?
But to keep the house being warm, because it's more efficient, so I don't have to use hay, or else I'm going to have to just keep putting hay in the furnace all day long. So a nice log, and that'd be more an efficient fuel to keep the house burning.
Okay. And then what will you have? What will happen with the logs burning? They generate
be slower.
And they generate a byproduct. Do you know what that is?
CO2, heat.
Coal.
Okay.
When we burn wood, we end up with coal, which also keeps the heat, right? And you can cook with that. And this is very familiar to me because I'm coming from cold Romania, where we did everything with wood, from cooking to warming up. But the key here is, you very well pointed it out. I start with hay, but I rely on wood.
Yeah.
Because if not, I have to be there all the time throwing hay on the fire. I need a lot of hay, and I have no time for anything else.
Right.
Now, how many of you here watching and listening to us right now feel like you're thinking about next meal when you eat this one, and you are obsessed and preoccupied with your snacks and next meal, and you have to eat all the time because you crash and you run out of energy, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you
relate to any of that.
Blood sugar issues, you're tired, you're falling asleep mid-morning, you're falling asleep mid-afternoon, you need a 5-hour energy, you need a Snickers bar. Who out there feels like they have to eat every hour and a half to stay awake?
Mm-hmm. Or to just keep going, feel like they have the energy. Whether is okay. So why I'm using this analogy? Our human metabolic fire is kind of like the real fire. Yeah. We can use glucose as fuel or fat as fuel. Fat burns into ketone bodies, the equivalent of coal. Right. Do we need glucose? Yes, we do need glucose. Glucose comes from carbohydrates. Is glucose essential? Meaning, do we need to consume it through our mouth in order to have it? No. Unlike the amino acids we talked previously, glucose and carbohydrates do not have an essential component. Does the body need them? Yes. Does the body makes it? Yes. Our body, again, is intelligently designed to live, to generate its energy in the form of glucose on its own, and that's our liver. So if you don't eat any carbohydrate, which is not like I'm telling you to do that right now, I'm just saying to you, if you don't eat anything, or if you don't eat any carbohydrate containing food, no banana, no potato, no cereal, no broccoli, no, which I shouldn't even mention broccoli here because it doesn't lead to so much glucose, but I'm talking the ones that really are the main source of glucose in our diet.
Right.
Fruit,
Right.
the grains, the legumes, the starchy vegetables. If you were not to ever touch those again, you will not have any problems starting your metabolic fire, because your body produces as much glucose as it needs for the cells of your body that can only use glucose. The rest of the cells of your body are very happy using the long lasting fuel, which is fatty acids, which then burns into ketone bodies. And here's the kicker. You will go to your dietitian or to your doctor or to your next door friend and be like, oh my God, do not do that crazy thing. It's dangerous, because your brain needs glucose, and your brain needs glucose, but your brain is dependent on glucose for as long as you supply the glucose as an external source of energy.
Right.
In the absence of that, again, the body produces glucose for the tissues that cannot use anything else. An example would be the retina of your eye, the red blood cells, some parts of the brain. But the body also, by burning fat, produces ketone bodies. And ketone bodies become the preferential high octane fuel for your brain. When you run on ketones and not on glucose, let me tell you, a whole new life opens up to you. Like, you would have energy like you never thought possible. Clear, focused thinking.
Mental clarity,
Mental
energy.
clarity,
Yeah.
energy, and you literally feel kind of high. I don't know if you
Yeah.
agree with me on
Yeah.
that. It's like a
Yeah.
state of
Right.
well-being, of euphoria. In fact,
Yeah.
it's used. We have documented reports on ketogenic diet and depression and anxiety reduction. We know it works with seizures.
Yeah.
So our brain will always use a mix of glucose and this other fuel, ketones, when we allow it to.
Right.
And it functions, it's almost like it functions optimally in the absence of glucose provided through our mouth and in the presence of ketone bodies. And now I'm gonna, give me thumbs up, let me know how this because this is, it could be sound like technical, but I'm gonna bring now the ancestral point of view here, so you see how this actually makes sense, that we are sharper and we have more energy when we eat less or less glucose than when we eat often and a lot of glucose that you always have to put it back on.
Yeah.
Our ancestors, now I'm talking ancestors that lived in an uncharted earth, no roads, they were nomads. They were going, and maybe they had herds of animals, most likely not. They were hunting, gathering. Sometimes maybe they gathered some berries, I don't know. I'm sure it was not anywhere remotely close to what we have today in terms of food availability or glucose availability. So if we are not equipped to have energy when we eat less and we have less carbohydrates, how do you think we would be here today? How did our ancestors had the ability to run and hunt, and the mental focus and clarity, and to think, to know how to gather, find their next meal when they did not have regular meals throughout the day?
Yep.
Makes sense, right?
Makes
So
sense.
so not, if you want to go check the science, you can go check the science, but if before you do that, I invite you to use common sense, ancestral common sense. Just imagine, how did they do it?
No grocery stores,
Nothing.
no fast food, no
No.
convenience stores, no broccoli. They couldn't pick any broccoli. They couldn't
No, or
get any bananas
kale.
off the trees. There was no eggplant. There was no potatoes. Right? No agriculture
No
yet.
agriculture,
So
right. So that's challenging the status quo. That's challenging nutrition status quo, nutrition information status quo, and that is inviting you to unlearn.
Right. And the basics, like some people may be thinking, oh, I just want to know what diet I should eat, or like I want to know what foods I can have or what I can't have. Like these basic things you're talking about, right? The macronutrients, the basics. Sometimes we have to build that foundation, right? People
Yes, yes,
need
you
to
have to
know.
understand.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy, the way I work with my clients. Unless you understand why you
Yeah.
you make a choice, unless it's informed and you own that choice, both because you believe it works, second, and because you comprehend that at your prefrontal cortex, this new cortex, new part of our brain. You cannot do it. You will do it because Mihaela said or because Matt said, but you have to do it because you understand how
Right.
it affects you. What is the consequence? What is the rationale behind? That's why in my work, I believe in educating or re-educating my clients, because I tell you, the majority of them come to me thinking that they are eating healthy. And some of them do eat like organic and non-GMO, but the question is, how is it working for you?
Right.
The healthy food. It may be sweet potato, it may be potato, not sweet, but potato. It's a whole food, right? We can't argue. Maybe beans, maybe legumes, it may be again banana, mango. Is it helping you? Are you having excess weight, lack of energy, hungry all the time? Three things that we said we're going to cover today.
Yeah.
If you struggle with any of this, you are fueling on hay.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you're always hungry, you're always looking for the next meal. If you want to reset that hunger, to get that long lasting energy, to get that clear thinking and sharp focus, productive, to burn your own fat, which we didn't go much into that
Yeah.
today, then you gotta start burning the more efficient fuel: wood, fat. We are
Yeah.
built to use both. It's up to us which one we choose to burn.
And it's
Fat.
funny that you brought up common sense, right? I mean, I'm with you on that. Hungry people don't make good decisions. You know what I mean? Like it's really like I really try to simplify stuff for my clients and my coaching online coaching clients. Is like I just like the more satiated you are, right? The more you're using those logs, right? Your
Yeah.
own stored body fat and and the less likely you're gonna go for the Snickers, or you're gonna
Yeah.
go for the chips,
Because you're
or
not hungry.
you're gonna stop at Taco Bell. You're not gonna be ravenous. You're not gonna be hangry.
Ravenous, yeah.
You're not gonna have low blood sugar, falling asleep at work. Like you're gonna have this constant. You keep bringing up energy, this constant, efficient stream of energy
Yes.
all day, and then
Yes.
you're not constantly looking for the next meal.
Yes. And it's a lot more we can go into, when you burn your own fat versus when you burn the fat from your plate. I mean, those are nuances we can talk. And of course, if you guys have any questions, comment, and we can come and have a follow up to, because this is a loaded topic. It's way more
Yeah.
we can talk. But I would like to, if we can take another 5 minutes, because I think this one is getting now close to an hour. I don't know when we
Yeah.
started. I would like to give an example, because I can hear our listeners or viewers saying, but I have energy, I'm not hungry all that much, or um, I'm not that heavy. I have to bring my own example here,
Okay.
because unlike many people, I've been through a whole spectrum of trials and errors and successes
Yeah.
with regards to using food to heal. Number one, that was the initial goal, to fuel and to nourish. So I was always lean. So if I work with someone that needs to lose 130 pounds and they look at me, they'll be like, what do you know about losing weight? And I have to say, I don't know anything about losing weight except for, of course, working with my clients personally. But I
Right.
know a lot about maintaining weight, which, by the way, is no different than losing.
Right.
But I was always lean, yes. And like I said in the beginning, I always had energy. I was an energetic person, but I was always eating a lot when I was vegan and vegetarian, which, by the way, I was for a good amount of time. However, as a vegan, and I think I was vegan at the time. Yeah, I was so into. I'm just gonna use a little bit of this story because I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I hear people saying, I have energy. I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian, I have energy, I eat lots of carbs, I have energy, I do all this crazy stuff. I did the crazy stuff as a vegan. I did the 150-mile bike ride. I did the century bike ride. I was exercising a lot. And then I did the same thing as a keto, low carb person, eating animal food. The same 100 bike ride, and I can compare the experiences. I've done them both, and both. So this is like, it's not randomized; it's controlled.
Yeah.
I'm the
Yeah.
same person, older by almost 10 years, and doing the same activity, but with two different fuels.
Fuels. Yeah.
One as a carb burner, not having kids yet. The second one as a fat burner, and already I'm a mom, right?
Yeah.
Training, I train more as a vegan than because now as a mom, I didn't have that much time to be on my bike and gym
Yeah.
and all that. But I nevertheless, I train. So it's not without training. When I did, so I'm going to the century ride, means 100 miles bike ride. When I did the first one as a vegan, I will never forget. First of all, we stopped. I did it with a friend of mine. I was in Miami. I did it in Hialeah, actually.
Yeah.
We stopped at just not every rest stop, but maybe every other rest stop, and there were lots of them. I can't remember how it took us, but we were almost the last ones to finish because I had a flat tire and yada yada. But the way I felt in my body when I finished that ride, and I had the bars, I had some energy bars throughout the ride. When I finished the ride, I will never forget. I felt like somebody bulldozed me.
Yeah.
Every joint, every muscle, fiber muscle in my body hurt.
Yeah.
I was exhausted, beat up. I was happy I did it. I mean, it's 100 miles
Yeah.
bike ride for someone that's not a professional.
Right.
That's a lot. So I was proud of myself. But then when I went and
And
I
you did
did
it again.
I did, yes, of course. And I'm ready to do it now as a carnivore. I think I'm gonna go do it as a
Yeah.
carnivore because that's I haven't done yet.
Yeah.
So as a keto, so now I'm eating low carb, high fat, protein, moderate protein, whatever satiety.
Yeah.
And I went again, and I not kid you. I thought I was flying. I thought I had no leg. You know how they say I had like strong leg. I didn't feel any
Yeah.
pain. Not only that, but I did not stop. I did not stop at any rest stop. I had water and I had the bulletproof coffee. So I had some
Right.
coconut oil and butter. I don't know, a tablespoon of fat and like
So you were
enough.
fat. You were fat adapted. You were
Oh
using
yes, I was.
fat
I
as a
was.
primary
I
source of
was
energy.
after 3 years of
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
my low carb. 3 and 4. I did it 2 years back to back.
Okay.
And I just kept riding and riding that bicycle, and I knew I could do 50 miles without stopping from my trainings, because
Yeah.
I would have to do 50 miles. I didn't have anybody to hold my bike for me to go
Right.
anywhere, so I had to do it. So I knew I would be able to do 50, but 50 miles came, and I'm not tired. What's
Yeah.
going on? And I finished. First ride was 85 miles. They didn't have 100, or I didn't know to sign up for 100. But the second year, I went for the full 100, and I
Yeah.
did it again.
Wow.
And I finished the ride, and I swear I was not, I was like euphoric, blown away. How can I not get off the bike? Like not even for I didn't need to pee. I just had water and pedal and pedal and pedal and pedal alone,
Yeah.
not in a pack, because nobody's crazy like me to go nonstop, right?
Yeah.
It was a personal challenge. I did it. So I can tell you, you have a lot of stored energy on your body. Use it.
Use it.
No need to refuse to use the energy that you store on your body, or to use fat that you enjoy eating as fuel. Next time we can talk about the fear around fat and
Yeah.
cardiovascular and all that. But for today, I really wanted to hone on the
Yeah. No,
fuel
they're
aspect,
good.
the energy you have from it.
Yeah.
The body. I mean, I don't want to sound judgmental. I go to the gym and I see people working out, and they work hard and heavy and don't see anything on their body
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
That's because you can't work out and not do the diet. If you
Yeah.
don't eat properly, you're not going to see the results in the gym either. And then what do? You get frustrated.
Yeah. And we'll
I
talk
do
about
all
that
the
too.
workout,
That's
and,
yeah.
right?
We'll
You
definitely. I
see that?
definitely want to talk. Oh, all the time. Definitely want to talk about that. Out train or out workout a poor diet. Most
Yeah.
people that I and this could be another topic we'll talk about, but is what it's easy to go to the gym. It's what if the problems arise when they leave. Most people just can't get out of their own way when they're outside of the gym. They're outside too long. There's only a small amount of
Oh
time
yeah,
of a week
that's another
that they're
another thing.
actually doing anything. So our population is sedentary, and no matter if they work out 7 days a week, they still can't out
Oh
train it.
yes, absolutely. So I hope this is beneficial. Let's recap. So humans get energy from food or from what they store on their body. We can talk next
Yeah.
time about how we store energy on our body. I want to show, let me see if I can put this image up, and actually not like this. I want to share my screen just for a visual. Where's my screen share? Stop live stream now. Huh. Why is it not showing me the screen share? Maybe I cannot do screen share when maybe when we do live. You see, it's the first time we're using, so I guess I cannot show the image. Anyway, we quickly recap. You get energy from food and from what you stored. When it comes to food, protein is your structural, is not your main source of energy. You need it, is essential, but you have to think, what fuel are you burning? Carbs or fat? By the
One
way,
or the other. One
one
or
or
the
the,
other.
we can burn the biology is said that if carbs are available, we get rid of carbs fast, again, because
Yeah.
it's almost,
Yeah.
it's so similar to fire, right? Isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Same thing, you put wood and hay on the fire first, the hay burns, has to, it's the law. So it's the law of the body. You eat glucose and fat, you burn fat, you burn glucose, you store fat.
But also on another way, look like too, like both at the same time. That means a lot of calories, and that's a standard American diet.
And that's the worst combination. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the worst
so much to
combination.
talk about. Yeah, that's
Right.
the worst
Right.
combination in terms of inflammation,
Right.
obesity,
Yeah.
cardiovascular health, all of that. So if you want to do high carb, then stay away from fat. Just do high
Pick
carb.
it. Be on one side or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell you which one we think is the most efficient place to
Right.
be. But
Right.
you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You don't want
Not
to
in
be
the
in the middle.
middle.
This is disease. This is where
Yes.
disease takes place. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. So it's up to you if you burn carbs or fat, but you can do both at the same time and be healthy. I guess that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, please comment below, let us know, and stay tuned, because we will come back for more conversations like this, hopefully on a weekly basis. And for in the trenches, of course, you can go and join Matt's group. He has a private group where he gives a lot of value in there. I close my private group. I do have a private group only with the book. Even if you didn't purchase the book, you can still join the group. But I do my support really on the page right here. Those of you
Yeah.
that want to have a good resource, I highly encourage you to check my book. Is on Amazon, Make Peace with Fat, or to grab a free chapter of the book. That's another thing.
Yeah.
I offer as a, a startup to see if this is for you, if it makes sense. You might want to learn how to actually jumpstart this fat burning. What do
Yeah.
you what do you
That's coming. I mean, that
Yeah.
those are the more videos. Like
Yeah.
we're not just gonna give you the boring stuff. You're gonna have solutions soon.
Well, hopefully it was edutaining,
Yeah, exactly. There
entertaining
you
and
go.
educating.
There you go. So if you
Hopefully
thought today was awesome, next time is gonna be awesomer.
awesomer, more awesomer.
That's right. There
Thank
you
you all
go.
for coming. Follow us with questions. Check our work websites. We can come back and put links to our
How to find us.
how to find us, our
Yeah.
websites. I guess that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Share and come back for more.
Bye. Thanks for
Bye
coming.
bye. Bye bye. So now let me see. How do I have to end the meeting first? Or no, I think stop live stream. That's first. And
There you
now
go.
let's see. It will take 20 seconds for it to stop on. Let's see. Were you able to see comments? Next time we have to get the phone.
Yeah. No, I can see. There's been a couple comments. I can see everybody who joined. I can
Yeah.
see
Oh, 102 views.
a
Wow.
couple.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Looks like we had a view. I mean, I don't know how many people say it was awfully long. Oh my
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man. I don't know. I mean, it's like to do
God.
30 minutes that's tough.
I'm
Dave,
curious
is that
how
you?
long. You have someone coming to your place? Okay,
Oh, I'm glad the
so
door was open. I'll be right there.
wait, I'm gonna stop the recording. We'll have to cut the ends. Recording, pause.